I'm Dr. Nathan. In the White House, we have a rapist, felon, fascist, and racist. He has been impeached multiple times and stoked division between family, friends, and countrymen. He has proven if you cheat well enough and have enough money, the laws don't apply to you, and that our dream that everyone is equal in America has not yet been realized. He is a selfish, narcissistic traitor. But we must accept that as it is fact now. And we must be willing to tell our children what we accept. The effects of this at best will be chaos and will be felt dramatically throughout the country. And at worst, our great experiment may have failed. But all this is to say, I'm not going back nor giving up. I'm not stopping speaking out, and I'm not going back either. After the election, I went through a lot of emotions, and for a while I couldn't figure out how to react. But I'm coming to the conclusion I'm just going to be a thorn in the side of fascism until I'm gone or America makes a path correction. This occurrence has realigned how I interact with people and how I run my business, which directly affects your pets. I am still professional to my clients and courteous to people around me, but I will not support their support of extremism. As I said in the close of last season, I am making sure that I focus on my family and my friends. My family, and friends that are family, that voted for Trump, I simply tell with a depth of truth I'm not sure they comprehend. I love you and always will, but I'm very disappointed in you. The current state of the people and their actions in the country says a lot. It shows me that the values that I learned growing up, taught to me in part by my fellow Republicans, are not held by most of the country. Republicans allowed it to be legal for a president to assassinate a political rival. That didn't happen even after years of insults, malice, threats, and claims of a stolen election against a sitting president that has a contentious political rival. What does that say about the Democratic president? I'm not sure what Donald Trump will do with that power. On Facebook, these victorious Republican winners have shown me how despicable they are. I expect a little victory celebration, but on Facebook it's dancing on assumed graves. I have seen the people who tore Biden down posting about praying for our leaders. Those who whined in their defeat of the last election are mocking the losers of this election. Others are asking for peace and to just unite around our new leader, while they for years offered not constructive criticism but vilified Biden and then Harris, stubbornly ignoring any good that they may have, in spite of being from a different political party, accomplished. Sometimes they actively sabotage things from being accomplished. Others now want peace and love where before hang Mike Pence was acceptable and shooting congressmen was acceptable. Still, others are praising how God answered the prayers of his children. It's funny. I thought we prayed to the same God. Or is your God different from my God? Gracious and humble winners. I attempted to act graciously and humbly when we won our last election. All I heard for years was how that election was rigged. It's funny, the election integrity seems fine now that their guy won. As Democrats, we aren't calling this election rigged. We know Trump won. And the Capitol wasn't infiltrated either when the vote was certified. Over the years, I have noticed a trend that Republicans whine more than Democrats and expect Democrats to be the adults in the room. I remember when Trump was elected the first time. It was like every other election. I would have preferred Bernie Sanders, but I was like, I'll give Trump a chance. His policies didn't align with mine, but presidents before had been elected whom I voted against, and I just let life go on. I gave Trump a chance, and to be fair, by 3 months my opinions had been formed. But I gave him a chance. At the second election, I was glad he was voted out of office, but still had grudging, albeit argumentative, respect for his supporters, which I felt wanted change in a system we all obviously can agree has had its flaws laid bare. And then it got darker from there. The Biden years were a welcome respite, but the extremism and chaos is back. This election wasn't about policy, it was about principle. All Americans have the same frustrations, but we showed our principles in a different way. In the end, we both have been swindled by Trump. We both lost the American system. His supporters were also swindled of their honor and patriotism. But not all of us sell our values to the loudest liar, and not all of us believe that we can't create a good economy and good country without screwing over our neighbors. This time is hard for Democrats. We know Trump is a fascist enacting fascist principles. We were taught to always fight fascism, but to respect democracy and the vote, the voice of the people. Which is more American, fighting feudal fascists or respecting a vote? This is the dilemma we as Democrats are struggling with. If the will of the people takes us to fascism, I guess that is where we go. But don't expect us to come with you gladly and without fighting to save what we love. Don't expect us to support this. And I pray we as Democrats are wrong with our view of the future. But I'm afraid that could have been the last real free election we voted in. The rhetoric of Trump has me believing I, as a Democrat, can be targeted by the Department of Justice and military if I step out of line. Why? Because Trump says this. Granted, I'm probably not important enough to register on Trump's radar, but I'd hate for a new version of thugs to be installed called red shirts against Democrats. Trump has said he will deport people who are here legally, terminate the Constitution, eliminate outlets of free speech, and use the Department of Justice to go after political enemies. So, every cop I see, I wonder if they're coming for me for speaking out against Trump. And if they're going to lock me up or deport me, what do? Go willingly or resist? For years I have seen the rules applied differently for the rich and powerful. The system is even more rigged now. But we as Americans will fight this. We shall fight in the courts. We shall fight on the internet. We shall fight in our art and in the streets. And we shall fight in the town halls. We shall never surrender our freedom. So yes, we have reached a parting in America. This wasn't just an election about policies. This was about principles and if you act on them or not. When we fight back as true Americans fighting Americans in American fashion, our current leaders are going to react to this by cracking down. But the more they tighten their grip, the more will slip through their fingers. I'm Dr. Nathan. At my clinic, I'm going to work to be an even better veterinarian and in life an even better human being. I'm going to fight to save my country. I still love my family and my friends, and I will have them in my life, but I won't welcome the reign of this extremism. I am looking forward to another season of podcast episodes. I doubt you listen to this podcast for my political take, so no, not every episode is going to be about politics. Some of the episodes you can look forward to are about new applications of drugs and talks with mentors in our profession. We've got episodes about medicine and guests with really cool information to give, but I'm also going to start focusing on how our actions and decisions affect other people and our animals, which was my goal from the start. But I will focus more on how our values may not be reflected in the actions we are taking in our day-to-day lives. I also have some episodes where we talk about how laws made by politicians affect the profession and how that directly affects how we are able to treat your animals. I also have an episode how we interact with our small businesses. That is an episode about values and action. We're all tied together and our actions have brought us to where we are. We've got a lot of action to take to make this a more perfect union, and I'm fired up. It's time to start talking about it more bluntly. So welcome back to the next season of Vet Talk, the Veterinary Podcast, where we have the talks that need to be had. We may not be going forward, but if I can help it, we aren't going back.